This video is just as much for me to serve as a reminder as it is for any of you watching this right now. I have been building online businesses, primarily my social media marketing company. I have been creating content. I have been an entrepreneur since the day that I graduated college. Actually, before I graduated college. I have run a successful social media marketing agency, which I run to this day. That has attained, the North Star benchmark of every young entrepreneur, 10K months on a multitude of occasions. I have stayed consistent in the gym, working on my personal development, reading books, educating myself. Now working on building my personal brand, building content. And it's the creation of my personal brand that has really had a profound impact on me as of recent, because it's since starting this whole YouTube thing and talking to the camera in a bit of a longer format. Prior to that, I don't think I was ever sitting and having open dialogues with myself that weren't channeled in some way. I've always had a bit of a chaotic mind, but I've always been good at channeling it. I learned to channel my anger and the chaos in my life and just pour it into whatever my task was at the time, or whatever my goal was or aspirations were. Typically, it was building whatever business I was building at the time, or lifting weights, or boxing, or running, like whatever the task at hand was. But as of recent, I've been doing this long form video stuff for like 3 months now. I feel like I'm becoming more self-aware of some of my thought processes and the way that I go about thinking about things. And one thing I genuinely noticed today, or I feel like I kind of just had the realization of today, is the fact that I eat last at almost every table that I've ever built or that I've ever earned a seat at. And for anyone that knows me in my personal life, they know that I actually do that in a literal sense. I kind of have a self-discipline rule for myself personally, for personal reasons, where I choose not to sit and take a bite of my meal or serve myself until everyone else has been served, in the event that I'm at a dinner or having friends around, or I'm with family, what have you. But I've realized that I've been eating last at every table in a lot of other realms of my life as well. And I don't do a very good job of taking care of myself. Never have. But I want to an extent. I don't mean it in like a selfish way, but more so the fact that what I think I need to fathom, or that I need to spend some time thinking on, is the fact that oftentimes some of the most selfless people I come across in life are the most generous people to those around them. At one point in time, either for a chapter of their life or in certain realms of their life at that time, had to be extremely selfish in order to ensure that they were in the best possible physical and mental state to go out and get theirs, and to then bring it back and distribute it among those who were deserving in their lives. And just a couple years ago, I was living in some shithole ghetto apartment because it was close to the 1,800 square foot office space that I was in at the time for my agency. Because all I did was work. And I told myself, like, what do I even need to be spending? I need to spend my money on like my living situation when I'm hardly even there, and like, fuck it, I'll just work more. I'll just get angrier, and that'll drive me to work more. And who am I to spend more? I literally remember having this internal dialogue with myself around that conversation of like who am I to prioritize my living situation when other people I know are struggling, or there are more people that I could help, or my business isn't where I want it to be yet, or my newest business isn't where my older, more established business is yet, and so I should be pouring money into that and building that thing up. And what ended up happening literally with the apartment story is a close friend of mine, in fact, the friend of mine that convinced me to move my agency and relocate to South Carolina from building it out of my parents' basement, basically just taking a leap of faith. The same friend of mine that convinced me to do that convinced me to come and get this newer apartment in this newer plaza. They had just built it the year that I moved in. I was one of the first in here. And it's just much nicer. It has a beautiful pool complex, a beautiful gym facility, a coffee bar, whatever, workspace, a sky lounge. Like, has all this nice shit. I wouldn't have done it. I swear I wouldn't have done it. He called me one day, said, dude, you really should think about like the headspace you would be in if you were in a nicer living situation, how much more inspired you would be to create content and go and build those businesses and all this stuff. And you'd just be happier, and you'd be more likely to have people over and have social gatherings at your place, whatever. And I was like, yeah, you know, that sounds like the push I need. Yeah, okay, sounds good. I'll book it. I'll book a tour. Never booked the tour. However, this friend of mine, his name's Nico, he knew that was my mentality about those kinds of things. You know, he's known me. We've known each other since we were in diapers. And he literally booked the tour for me. That same day, I hung up the phone and said, yeah, I'll book the tour, no problem. We'll go check it out, whatever. He knew that I wouldn't. He booked the tour. He calls me the next morning. And he goes, hey, man, our tour's at whatever it was, 10 o'clock. Like, we got to go. I booked it under your name. And I'm like, fuck. All right, I might as well go see this place. I ended up signing a lease that afternoon. And it was purely because he pushed me to do something for myself. He pushed me to treat myself a little nicer, to be a little kinder to myself, to reward myself. And I don't know if it has to do with my upbringing, my mentality, or whatever, but I've just never been good at fucking rewarding myself. And now the brand new truck that I drive with the all black Dodge Ram, baby, horns up, like that brand new Dodge with like 2,000 or 3,000 miles on it right now, was him pushing me as well. But that time it was actually like, it was more of an intelligent decision from a financial perspective. The car that I was driving, it was a Ford Fusion or something that I had owned outright for several years. And honestly, my experience with some of those middle range, middle of the road Fords is more often than not, the transmissions go on them. It happened to my first car I ever owned that was gifted to me by my parents when I was in high school. Same thing happened with that car. So I had felt a little bit of finickiness with the transmission already, and it was still a very low mileage car. I think I had like maybe 30, 40,000 miles on it. So I was like, I'm not playing this fucking game again with these Fords, and I'm going to take advantage of the fact that it has super low mileage, trade it in, got an excellent trade-in deal. We were sticklers. We ended up walking out the first trip, then got the money that we wanted for it when they called us back. You know, I'm not playing that game with fucking sleazy car salesmen. But anyways, I digress. I've just never been good at this shit. I've never been good at rewarding myself, of taking care of myself. I've always found pleasure in helping others be in a better spot, or, you know, lending a helping hand to someone, or giving my time away freely. You know, I do that all the fucking time to this day. I'm constantly spending time with guys that just, I feel like they benefit from me being around them, or they want to ask me questions, or they want to work on like content related stuff, or stuff that I'm pretty well versed in, and I know that I can save them, you know, tens, if not hundreds of hours of research and time and energy if I just show up and help them out for a second. But what ends up happening is I'm draining myself all over the place. And today I've really just, again, I kind of just had that moment where I came to that realization, and I'm not sure as exactly how I want to go about adjusting. I'm not sure how I want to go about thinking about rewarding myself or these kinds of things. Another great example I'll literally show you guys right now. Like, it's just, once you realize something, you start all of a sudden becoming observant and looking for it. But like, this is my sock drawer. Okay, let me turn this around. This is literally my sock drawer. These, let's pull another pair. Pull another pair. There's another pair. Let's see, maybe these don't have any holes in. Oh, wait. So maybe you guys are starting to pick up what I'm putting down here. That's ridiculous. I mean, I had to come to the realization to then observe that, but that's just fucking ridiculous. Half socks, that's what I wear every day, you know? Those are what I wear to the gym. That's why they're probably like that, you know? I put a lot of miles on running, or I lift weights, my feet get sweaty, whatever it is. Like, I'm sure that's fitness related, given that the tall socks don't seem to be that way. But you know how many times I've just put those socks on and gone and just done the work that needed doing, or gone to the gym, got my lift in, whatever. Fucking years. Like, I can tell you that's years that I've had those socks and that they've been in that kind of shape. That's ridiculous. And that was a realization that I had today, and I'm currently wearing a pair of those socks because I got my running shoes on. I did actually splurge on these shoes though, so at least I rewarded myself with these torture devices so I can go put miles in. But regardless, I just wanted to shoot this video. This is as raw as it gets. This is a literal realization I've had just this afternoon. And like I said, I need to think on it as I do anything. And something has to change. And I think a great place to start is probably ordering myself some new socks. It's not like I don't have the fucking money. That's the craziest part. And I think that's an obvious starting point. But I don't think it can end there. Like, something definitely has to change. And this is just me documenting the intention to make that change. And like I said, this is probably more for me than any of you guys, but I'm sure someone out there is going to relate to this. And maybe you'll open your sock drawer and realize that you need to change something about how you're treating yourself, how you're taking care of yourself. Because it certainly has a correlation with your ability to go out and perform at a high level, to achieve great things, and to build a table that has enough seats for other people. Table's no good if it ain't got legs under it, you know what I mean? So I'm actually gonna, like I said, I got my run, walking, whatever shoes on right now. So I'm going to go for a long walk this afternoon. That's how I typically think through things, is I just either go out for long walks or runs outside, get some sun, no music, just me in the fresh air, and see what comes of it. But I'll certainly keep you guys posted when I get my new socks. I appreciate you all tuning into this video if you have. And if not, it's here for me and my own reference. But I will catch you all in the next video. God bless.